Hey there, people. This is Conherson Channel, and well, today, I finally have scrounged up probably enough material for a lesson two in the Command and Conquer General Zero Hour modding tutorial, comprehensive modding tutorial to be more precise. So, lesson two is about weapons, and I'm now talking about M Night Shyamalan's latest movie. Anyway, weapons are used in a lot of different things. And most commonly, really, it's used for the shooty bits for your units and stuff like that. And there's a lot of nuances on weapons and what they can be used for. So it may not be as comprehensive as I thought it would be, but I'll try my best to cover as much of the topics as I can. In any case, we can start probably with the weapon parameter breakdown, and apparently there was no list. There was no list of the complete there's no list of all of the weapon parameters. I asked around. I don't know if no one just has responded yet about it, so I had to comb through the entire game just to go find every single funky weapon parameter. And some of them I don't even know what they do. That's just a bit because mainly because it was used by one unit or two, or it's probably unused, or it probably doesn't even work anymore. In any case, I will try my best to explain the weapon breakdown. It's gonna look. We're gonna switch to a screen. It's gonna be intimidating, but trust me, I will guide you through it. Anyway, here we're in my room, and I have Notepad++ here. Not every weapon entry is going to be this complicated. This is just me doing the comprehensive list of things you can have on your weapon entry. Your weapon entry can be empty. You can just have the weapon declaration over there, and then name it something, and just end. That's it. You can just do that. In fact, there's a dummy weapon that's exactly that. It's literally just weapon name, and then end. Anyway, let's go through each of these. Okay. First off, we have our general parameters here. These are more or less self-explanatory. Primary damage, secondary damage. There's two damage numbers. This is in case the weapon has two damage radii. Because the first damage radii is the thing is with Command Card Generals, how it deals damage is that when you declare a damage radius, it deals the same damage all across that radius. It's not gradual. Hence why it has a secondary damage radius, so it gives out that feel in that if you're not caught in the first damage radius, maybe you're caught in the second damage radius, and it will deal the secondary damage. In any case, you'll only ever take damage from one of these. In any case, this is the damage bit. One thing to note about damage radius in this is that it's a bit misleading. It's not exactly a damage radius, implying that the damage is a sphere. No, it's not. The damage radius is actually a cylinder in Command and Conquer Generals. It's the height of the cylinder is determined by the radius. So if you have say a 100, if you have a 100 radius damage, that means it's a cylinder that reaches 100 units high that can hit air units. For context, that's 100 is the standard height that units flight in. 100 units above the ground. 100 whatever the game uses to quantify distance that way. Anyway, damage type. This is an interesting one. There's a lot. What kind of damage does this weapon do? There's a bunch. These are the most common damage types. Explosion, armor piercing, small arms, Gatling, misspelled. Flame sniper, infantry missile, aurora bomb, jet missile, stealth jet missiles, Molotov cocktail, Comanche Vulcan. These are the most common damage types. Well, not well. Some of these are not as common, but like they're the ones that you are more or less won't have any problems if you use them. Now, these are the lesser common ones. Laser. The reason why laser is not as common is because it's used on point defense lasers, not the direct laser weapons from, say, a laser crusader. Laser crusader is actually armor piercing. And I guess we're actually missing something here. I may add this as well. Particle beam. It's a particle beam. There's particle beam, which is for what the particle cannon does. That's what particle beam does. You're also okay using particle beam. So yeah, radiation and poison. These are self-explanatory. These are for the area effects. Again, less common. There's crush for when vehicles crush things, and it's not an actual weapon. There's no, well, there is a unused commented outfit, but like yeah, the reason why it's lesser common because there's just units that are immune to crushing. There's melee. Colonel Burton. Colonel Burton's knife attack is melee. Landmine, Chinese mines. I've been having this cough lately, but anyway, there's some niche weird ones like healing, and this one is interesting because it in terms of armor typing, for armor types, healing determines how much healing you get. Like whenever you're receiving anything from a healing source. So say a healing source gives you 100 health. If you have like healing 50%, then you'll only get 50 from that healing source. Or if you have healing 200, then you get like 200 from that healing source, you know? And you can also put healing on a weapon. So you can make like medics for example, but like unfortunately, like there's no auto targeting friendlies. Surrender is used for flashbangs. It's flashbangs. It's only effective against infantry. There used to be a POW mechanic, and this is what the damage type was supposed to be. Like the GLA had like the GLA had like tranquilizer darts. I forgot what the Chinese had. I believe that was supposed to be the defector, the unused defector skill, but that was more like I take control of that unit because that's what the defector skill was. And then there's Kill Pilot, Jarmen Kell. Okay, a thing with Kill Pilot though, fair warning. It needs the damage number. The damage number that you should put on primary damage should be 1. Otherwise, the game crashes. The game does not like it if Kill Pilot is more than 1. I don't know why. Kill Garrison is an interesting one. Did you know? I don't know if people know this, but I know this. I've known this for quite a while. The microwave tank has a kill beam for like garrison units. Like, well, you just basically park a. If you park a microwave tank near a garrison building, it will just kill people inside the building. Yeah, this is the damage type it deals. Similar to Kill Pilot, it needs to be 1. Hazard cleanup, ambulances. Whenever they're doing the cleanup, whenever they're doing the like hazard, like whenever they spray the purifying thing on like toxins and radiation. This is also used for specialty weapons, so that within like damage areas, like say whenever there's a poison field, like say anthrax or radiation, those objects emit hazard cleanup before emitting their damage, so that the areas don't stack. So it removes the previous like damage area, so that like you can't just stack like toxins. Um, Subdual missile, ECMs have this. It's what causes missiles to get the jam status, the jammed condition state. It what makes them like veer off course. Subdual vehicle stuns vehicles. So every vehicle per se, actually every unit actually has a value called subdual health, in that it doesn't deal damage directly to it, but like it deals damage to subdual health. If that subdual, if the weapon with subdual vehicle deals enough subdual vehicle damage to go over their subdual health, the vehicle is stunned. And once the subdual vehicle has stopped being applied, it will heal off the subdual vehicle damage until it removes the subdual vehicle damage completely, so that the vehicle can come back on again. If that makes any sense. Same thing with subdual building, but for buildings. Status is funny. Status is a weird one. I believe only one unit right now uses status. No, two. There's two. There's one that you can actually use, and that's the Avenger. The Avenger's targeting designator. The Avenger's targeting designator is status, and it has an accompanying parameter, which is this damage status type, which is applies whenever if the damage type is status, apply this status type. It applies Fairy Fire. Fairy Fire has a specific buff in where like units attacking things affected by Fairy Fire have faster fire rate against that. And then there's the rarer weapon, rarer like damage types, which is not exactly damage types, but they're more like things needed so that things work. Deploy. Troop crawlers have this. It's used to like get units out of the transport and attack whatever the troop crawler is pointing at. Hack is hackers. It's not even actually technically used for like hackers really. It's this one's a weird one. Disarm. This is for minesweepers, dozers. The dozers with their minesweeper ability, and they can remove like booby traps. They can remove mines with disarm. Unresistible. Only one unit technically uses this, and it's for a harmless weapon, purely for targeting purpose. It's the Angry Mob. The Angry Mob uses Unresistible. It's so that the Angry Mob can actually like coordinate and attack. It's the same thing as Deploy, except that the Angry Mob, it makes him cohesive to like attack a unit. And then there's the damage type that you can, but try not to. They have other things, properties that you may not know exactly what they do. So there's penalty, falling, and water. Technically, you can use water as a damage type as well, but like I recommend you don't, because that's already a common damage type. Whenever like that one mission where you blow a dam, that's one for every campaign. But yeah, that's water damage. So radius damage effects, it basically just tells what the radius of what the damage radius affects. So it doesn't affect allies, does it affect enemies, neutrals. Not similar. Not similar, basically, anything that is not the same object as the object firing the weapon. Suicide being like, this is a weapon that destroys the user, and not airborne. Basically, it tells it to not affect airborne units. It tells it to not affect airborne units. So like if you have like again, this is useful for stuff like if you have like a damage radius of 100, but you don't want to affect aircraft, you put not airborne. Or like you just don't want to affect like the aircraft, kind of, I believe. There's delay between shots, which is like when the weapon shoots, there's a bit of a cooldown before it shoots again. That's the delay in between them. Clip. Does it have like does it shoot and does it need to reload? Does the weapon need to reload? If it needs to reload, it has a time to reload. This clip reload time. The auto reloads clip. If the weapon has a clip and it still has ammo in the clip but it hasn't fired since, then it reloads it. Auto reload clip also like has this return to base. This is specifically for jets. Like if they don't have a target for a good while, they'll just return to base, or if they ran out of ammo. And then there's pre-attack delay, which is basically before the attack happens, there is a delay before the say you have an animation before the attack happens. You delay the attack before it comes out, so it comes out correctly when the attack happens, and you can determine, is it per attack, is it per shot, is it per clip. There are differences. And damage damage dealt at self position, that's connected to the suicide weapons, and you know that's yeah. Does it deal damage where it's fired? Damage accuracy and targeting parameters, which is attack range, how far can it shoot? Minimum attack range, how not close can it shoot from the target? And then leech range weapons. This is typically for melee attacks. I don't recommend using it. Maybe if you just copy pasting like Colonel Burton's like knife attack on something, maybe. Melee weapons in this game don't work well, but like you can use this if you want to. Scatter radius will randomly make your weapon miss by this much. So say you put a scatter radius of 20, and I put an attack range of 300, which by the way, for reference, for attack range, 300 is around the smallest range an artillery can have. Around that. Anyway, so yeah, scatter radius. So like I fire at range 300 with a scatter radius of 20. So that means my shot can end, and I attack at range 300 maximum range. So that means the shot can end up anywhere from 280 to 320. Anyway, min target pit. Anyway, scatter radius versus infantry. This is scatter radius, but only applies versus infantry. Yeah, tanks have this. The tank shells have this. Min target pitch. Basically, so min target pitch and max target pitch is what's the lowest and what's the highest from our sight can we shoot our target at. So like when it say so min target pitch meaning like what's the lowest we can aim from our like shooting angle. So we can shoot, say, up to -15 from our horizontal line, aka our front-facing line. Or for max target pitch, we can shoot as high as, say, like 30 degrees above our our like line of sight kind of thing. Our level, our leveled line, basically like how high and how low can we shoot the target from this angle. Basically, I just this. So okay, so we're gonna explain acceptable aim delta. Acceptable aim delta. So we can pick targets without facing directly in a cone up to this angle. So okay, imagine that. So we're facing at 0 degrees, and our acceptable aim delta is 45. That means we can, from 0 degrees, we can still target things within a 45-degree angle offset. So in both positive and negative degrees. So like that means we have a 90-degree coverage from the 0 degrees angle. Now, if we set this to 180, that means we don't need to face the target at all, because that would be 360. So there's a couple of weapons that did do this. Weapons that don't need to face their targets, like PDLs. Yeah, PDLs, very much. The Paladin's PDL. And then we have the the anti bits, which can this weapon target small missiles? Can this weapon target ballistic missiles? When it means target ballistic missiles, it means like the big missiles, like your Scud missiles, not the super weapon Scud missiles, but the Scud launcher missiles. Your Tomahawks. Yeah, those. Small missiles, anything from infantry rockets, Comanche rockets, rocket buggy rockets. Projectile is anything else that isn't a missile, like shells, tank shells, artillery shells. Anything that's not labeled either ballistic missile or small missile in terms of the object properties. Airborne vehicle, aircraft. Can this weapon target aircraft? Airborne infantry, can it target infantry that are airborne? Paratroopers, can they commit war crimes? Anti-ground, can it shoot at ground units? This is the simplest one. Anti-mine, can it target mines? This is for mine speed for weapons. This is one of the more like odd ones out there. And then for the projectile itself, projectile object. So okay. So weapons come in a bunch of other different flavors. We have weapons that instantly hit, and weapons that instantly hit have a subcategory with lasers, which we're gonna mention later. And there's weapons with projectiles. Weapons with projectiles. I either shells, dumb weapons, or weapons with locomotors, aka missiles. And they have some differences between them. They have some differences between them, which we'll probably just go over as we go. Weapon speed. How fast does a projectile travel? Now, a thing with weapon speed is that this is not used when the weapon has its own locomotor, aka if it's a missile. None of these weapon speed stuff is not like used whenever like the projectile itself has a locomotor. Scale weapon speed just means does it how do I explain? Well, okay. Let's say my target is very far from me. When I shoot my weapon, it will accelerate towards that target faster the farther it is from me. But the nearer the target is, the lower the acceleration of my attack. My projectile will be to that target if it's nearer than me. If that makes sense. It's used for it's used for lobbing weapons. It's used for like grenades to make them look believable when they're thrown. like grenade weapons like Molotov cocktails. Yeah, mostly really just Molotov cocktails. And I guess like the flashbangs. Rekka collides with. So so if your weapon has a projectile, then there's a possibility that your weapon that your projectile will collide with something that isn't the target. So you can indicate here what kind of stuff your projectile collides with. You can put structures, walls, kind of basically just what blocks what blocks your projectile's path, and the projectile will stop short there. And then so yeah, so lasers, these are part of the whole instant hit weapons. And whenever you have an instant hit weapon, you typically don't have a projectile object. You don't have a projectile object when you have a weapon that instantly hits the target. Like say small arms. A lot of small arms fire quad cannons, all of the basic infantry don't have a projectile. They instantly hit their target. They're perfect accuracy. Lasers, however, even though they're instant hit, they can be foiled by adding a scatter radius. So lasers can randomly miss if you put down a scatter radius. That's the unique thing about lasers. And the thing is with lasers that it is an object. The laser itself is an object. You'll have to look up what lasers they have. I will have example objects. Not example object, like example weapons that are in the vanilla game for this. And then there's laser bone name. This is where a bone is basically a sub object inside of your model. Where does the laser come out of? And then there's the the visual flare for your weapons. Death type. What kind of death does it incur to the unit? So like if a unit dies to a weapon, it has a death type. Whether the unit bursts into flames, they melt into goo. There's a lot of different typings. I have a list. Normal. Yeah, normal. How does the unit die normally? It shows an animation of them just dropping to the ground, I guess. Burning, with them flailing. Those are individual objects you can modify, by the way. Those are new objects that are created when they die to this weapon. Exploded. This one is a physics-based one. They get flung. Or you can have something unique, like they get gypped if you're into that. And then there's the various poisons, because like they turn into a color, and each color of they turn into is a new model. So that's why there's 3 of these. These are lesser common. Lasered is what happens for I guess like whenever something is foiled by a PDL, it has a burnt husk. The projectile has a burnt husk, and that's what created. And then there's these extra death types. You can define these any way you like. These are just unused, and there's no harm in using any of these extra ones. These have specific purposes. These death types have specific purposes. This is toppled. It's for those buildings, those tall buildings, that when they fall down, they inflict this death type. If they attack a specific way, they're toppled. This is for that one for at least one mission where like things get drowned by dam water. We all know what this is. Detonated has an interesting thing. Basically, it just calls on. Well, not necessarily calls on, but like basically, projectile just detonates. The projectile just explodes. I guess that's it. It's what happens when the projectile is gone. Splatted. fall damage. This is fall damage. It's crushed. Carfu. I do not recommend the all death type because this is a catch-all. Get it? That's a. There's also technically none. There's also technically none. There's also technically none, but like don't use these. Don't use these. Anyway, damage recoil. Weapon recoil. If the object has a weapon recoil bone assigned, and yeah, it will recoil by this distance. Basically, if you have like a tank and it shoots, the barrel recoils. That's what this is. Like how much recoil does it cause? Shots per barrel. If you have like a multi-barrel, like you have multi-barrel like object and like a weapon is shot, how many shots per barrel does this stuff come out of? This is mainly for overlords. You can see this in overlords. Fire effects. It's just the effects that are spawned wherever the weapon fire effects bonus is assigned. And then veterancy fires, same thing. When units get heroic, they have the red muzzle flash now. And you can go even further. You can have veteran, elite, and not just heroic. You can go all the way if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to. Weapon detonation effects. What happens when the weapon explodes? What happens when the weapon is detonated? And I put an asterisk here because like a weapon detonated doesn't exactly mean the weapon is destroyed. The instance of the weapon is destroyed. And I'll get to that in a bit because especially with missiles, it gets complicated. But like it's something about like not properly removing the object itself from the game, kind of thing, where it stays a bit. You can see this with bunker busters, a bit, but like thankfully the bunker busters solve themselves because like eventually the projectile does explode. Hence why they do have a delayed explosion. That's why they do that. The fire sound is what sound does it shoot? Shoot? No, what sound does it make when it shoots? And fire sound loop time. If it's a looping sound effect, when do we at what point do we stop playing the looping sound when we're not firing the weapon? Flamethrowers. This is for flamethrowers. The Avengers targeting beam. Targeting the designating beam. Target designator. Projectile exhaust. If the projectile is a missile, it will emit this particle. Like it's the contrails coming out of missiles. Or like smoke, if you're that kind of guy. And then same thing for veterancy projectile exhaust. Like some missiles get the red exhaust when they're veterancy. Show ammo pips. Those you know how the Comanches have like those bullet icons? This is it. Whenever the weapon has a clip size, it will show how much the unit has. This is also shown in jets. They would have you can see how much they have before they have to reload or return to base. Let's see. So there's the others. I can't exactly label them in a nice column, a nice like grouping, but like these are just whatever else. Weapon bonus is a complicated one. So it has 3 sub-parameters. The weapon bonus type, the weapon bonus, and the percentage. The percentage is how much benefit will they get from the weapon bonus. The weapon bonus is what kind of bonus, and the weapon bonus type, where they're getting the bonus from. I have a list of all of them. So weapon bonuses. There's the general ones, which is garrison. When whenever units are garrison, continuous firing. This is mainly for Gatling tanks. Um, their first their first boost, their second boost when they're in full spin. Player upgrade triggered by a weapon bonus upgrade module. So this is from, say, an example of this is they don't get a new weapon. They don't get a new weapon, but they get a additional damage because of an upgrade. An example of this is AP rounds or AP rockets for GLA. Either of those, AP rounds, AP rockets. This is what it does. This is the weapon bonus upgrade for it. Drone spotting. This is I don't think this properly works, but it's supposed to be the boost. It's supposed to be the boost a unit gets from a scout drone. So whenever you have a scout drone, it extends the range and like the it gives the unit like basically a flying detector. Apparently, it had more things to do. Like you'll see if you look at the ranger weapon. I will have the example later. You'll see what you'll see like if it had an you'll see like if like you maybe you can judge if it had an effect or not. But rangers can't spawn scout drones, so like they don't get benefit from it. Yeah. There's and these are the veterancy like weapon bonuses. This is target fury fire. So yeah, the Avengers target designator. China specific mechanics like the horde. Enthusiastic. This is the unupgraded propaganda. Nationalism when you upgrade to nationalism. Subliminal messaging is the additional like boost from like subliminal messaging. Fanaticism. All these stack, by the way. All these stack, by the way. As far as I know. Although I think nationalism just gives you a new percentage, and subliminal adds to the whatever you have like on top. So like, they stack partially, but horde always I think stacks with other bits. So like there comes a point where like the stacking doesn't matter because of a quirk later on of the engine, which I should probably mention now. So a lot of the like these kind of upgrade the rate of fire, which only affects delay between shots, not clip reload time. Clip reload time is not affected by any boost at all. Like not even veterancy. Not even veterancy can lower clip reload time. It's only delay between shots, and there's a point in where I put it down here. This is from the module tag list. I believe was compiled by Desire, and it was spruced up by the No Life Studio guys to have more information on it. It was a combined effort between the modding community, and it's the most comprehensive document ever. I wish I can link it. If you just go to NLS, No Life Studios Discord, you'll find it in our resources. It's the module. It's basically there. It's for everyone to use if they want to start modding. Anyway, yeah. There's this nonsense here, like in where stuff gets rounded to 99. The fastest Gatling cannon delay without wasted speed is 264. Was it's weird because like it's a weird rounding thing. It's not even like rounding that makes sense to like normally to us. So like this is so weird. Like if a unit shoots faster than say 67 67 milliseconds, it shoots slower than 67 milliseconds. That's the point here. It's weird. Anyway, let's get back to like so these are battle plans. I believe these are unused because the battle plan bonuses are already in game data.ini. You can check those out. And then there's the campaign bonuses, and then these only apply with, of course, when you're playing the campaign. And I'm not sure. I believe this was unused. There was a demoralize mechanic then as well. You can have this and like apply like a debuff. Anyway, so oh yeah, scatter target scalar. This is an interesting one. So instead of being random, like unlike scatter radius is random. Like there's a whenever you shoot and you have a scatter radius, you will miss by that amount, up to a maximum of that amount. Scatter target scalar, you have one value. You will miss this target by this fixed amount. And then there's scatter target, in where you can have multiple scatter targets in your weapon entry. And basically it will just what happens is that it will go down the list. And whatever number you have here for your X and Y values will be multiplied to the scatter scalar, and it will place the shot, it will place the attack, it will place the weapon attack in that exact part of where you scale it. If you will notice this with the Comanche. The Comanche actually has a fixed pattern whenever it rains down missiles. Actually, it has a fixed pattern when it rains down missiles. The Scud Storm actually has a fixed pattern when it like comes down, and because because of scatter target. Although like if you have more scatter target entries, parameters more than your clip size, then it will just go partially in that list, and it will continue to where it left off with your scatter target. Anyway, so there's still a bit of randomness if you really want to, and you can still apply scatter radius with this. You can still apply scatter radius on top of this to make it even more fuzzier. So that's a thing you can do. And these are the OCLs. These are interesting recursion tools. So fire OCLs. Whenever this weapon is fired, we call an OCL. We spawn an object. We spawn an object, or we call down another weapon, because OCLs can also call down weapons if need be. It's funny. And same thing with projectile detonation, except whenever this projectile detonates, it calls an OCL. Shockwave amount. Primarily, bunker busters have this. The sneak attack has this. The shockwave bits, like the strength of the shockwave, how big the shockwave is, and like from a certain distance from the shockwave is more or less stronger depending on whatever percentage you put down. But it's not a percentage. I put a number here, but like necessarily have to be like 0.33, so because it's a scalar number. Weird. Historic weapon bonuses. Think firestorms. This is basically it. So if I'm just gonna read out what I wrote here. If multiple instances of the same weapon lands on a certain spot within a certain time frame, a historic bonus weapon is called. So, it, bonus time. Within this time, a number of instances of the same weapon radius within the distance of each other. So like if you have, so this is why like when you have like three inferno cannons, you have three inferno cannons shoot at the same spot, it causes an instant firestorm because all of this is being met, and the weapon is being called. That's what it is. This is what this is. In firestorms, it's an interesting mechanic. Missile calls and die. So when the missile is destroyed, it triggers the missile's death flag because they don't necessarily trigger the death flag whenever they get detonated. So what happens is that like when you have this, it properly calls the death flag and properly triggers whatever death behaviors the missile has. You can also do the same thing on the missile itself, I believe, because like this is a weird one as well, because like you don't see it everywhere. It's not consistently applied. Projectile stream name, drawing helper for stream weapons. It's an object. It's you know those like whenever you have like toxin tractors or dragon tanks, you see that line that tracks that tracks the particles of the flames or the toxin. That's what this is. What flamethrowers and toxin tractors spray are actually small missiles that are rapid fired, except that they're kept in line by this stream name thing. So like they're chained together in a neat way, so that it looks believable that it's spraying liquid rather than like it's spewing multiple projectiles. Allow attack areas and buildings. This is also an odd one. It just basically like this is for weapons that can attack buildings. Like again, like for flamethrowers, like dragon tanks and toxin tractors. Continue attack range. Minesweepers. You know how dozers, like when dozers are bored, they take out one mine and then they take out another mine, take out another mine. They basically scan around the area. Once they finish taking out a mine, they scan around themselves and like, oh, there's another mine there. They're gonna go disarm that mine as well. So like that, this is what causes that. One of the things anyway. The dozer unit or worker unit still has to go to their like board time, because they have a board time, and where like if they go idle long enough and they spot something they can do, like disarm a mine, they will automatically do it without you like doing anything, without you commanding it to do anything. And this is just basically what encourages them to keep going and removing mines or booby traps or demo traps. Request assist range. This is for request assist range. This is for Patriot missiles, mainly Patriot missiles. Whenever this weapon is shot, it will the object will call around itself any nearby objects that have the same weapon or have an assist weapon ready to shoot, and basically it will shoot with the assist weapon. Patriot batteries down. Play effects when stealth. This is really just for demo traps. This is for demo traps to emit that high pitched beep whenever they are revealed to explode. This is what it is. Because when things are stealth, that means you can't perceive them in the game, and this is just to make sure that whenever like they're revealed and about to explode, they explode and you can hear them. Capable of following waypoints. I don't know if this works properly. It was originally for Tomahawk missiles. Tomahawk. Apparently, you were supposed to be able to control Tomahawk missiles and like You can do waypoints with them and like have them hit specific targets, go and like navigate around defenses and stuff like that. I don't think this property works. Suspend effectively. I found this in one of the nuclear radiation pools. I don't know what it does. It does not have a comment. It does not even have a comment on it. I'm guessing it's something to do with the radiation pool, like getting delayed before it finally just winks out. I'm not sure because it's not in any other radiation pools. And it's not in any damage pools. It's not. It's only in one of them. That's it. And yeah, that's about it. That's all of the weapon entries. I'm gonna show you like examples from the game itself. So they don't have to have all of the things, and we can have this. This is the basic hit scan instant hit weapon. This is the ranger, and you can see the drone spotting here. Unfortunately, they don't benefit from this because they can't make scout drones. But as you can see, they don't have a projectile. They don't have a projectile. They only have fire effects. The tracers you see are from the fire effects. Those are purely those aren't those aren't actual projectiles traveling. Those are just the visuals. Kind of like how it's kind of similar to like how first-person shooters do it. In that, like, there is a line drawn from where your gun is to wherever you're pointing at is. It's not actually the bullet traveling. It's more of just to indicate that you shot at this line. That this is the same case here. That you've already hit the target. You've actually already hit the target. There's no travel time. And then here's the example laser weapon. This is the Laser Crusader. Yada yada yada. It's lasers. It has a laser name, and it comes out of this part of the model. It comes out of this part of the model. For some weird reason, it has 2 delay between shots. I don't know if this is a mistake that EA made. It probably is. The 0R is a rushed piece. So they're dumb projectile weapons. Just your average tank gun. Nothing too special here. There's an example missile weapon with a OCL. This is the OCL. Projectile detonation OCL. It creates an EMP spheroid. This is the Super Weapon General's Patriot missiles. There's the missile exhaust, and this is a particle system. Yeah, pretty much. And then there's the stream weapons. This is the Dragon Tank's weapon. There's the stream name, where like it's the orange line that appears on the flames, that tracks the flames. And then weapons can also be used for like components for a general's power, like the artillery barrage damage weapon. This is not the actual artillery barrage. This is the damage weapon of the artillery barrage. It's what the artillery itself does not do damage. It's when they explode, they call this weapon. They call this weapon. And same with the super weapons. This is an example for the neutron missile and the Scud Storm weapon. You can ignore a lot of this actually, mainly because a lot of the magic comes from the object itself. None of this actually matters, except for the clip size, because that's how many things it shoots, and a lot of the damage actually comes from the object itself. Same with Scud Storm. It has 9 and everything has all of these, and apparently you can actually do this as well. You have a min-max delay, the delay between shots. And here is scatter target scalar in action. You can see that there's 9 of these for 9 missiles. Pretty neat. That means the pattern is always fixed. So unlike the nuclear missile here, which is neutron missile for some reason, it does have a damage weapon like the artillery barrage, because this is what happens once the Scud Storm missile explodes. It calls this weapon. I'll actually bring up something. Hold on. I'll actually bring up something. Let me see if I can like quickly copy paste that code. So okay, I found the neutron missile. I found the neutron missiles code, aka the nuke missiles code. This is what happens. This is what happens to it. I'm gonna make a new window. Wait, new window. Here. So, neutron missile slow death behavior. Does this, makes this effect. And then like, apparently what happens is that it goes through multiple blasts. Up to 9 blasts, but like realistically you'll only face up to blast number 6. The rest of this is unused. The rest of this you can activate it if you want to. You can set the delay to something reasonable, but like you'll see that the damage numbers stop at blast 6, dealing 3,500 at the very end. This is explosion damage. This is non-negotiable. Explosion damage in terms of damage types. Hence why it's not exactly effective against tanks, and it creates an OCL at the end. And now you're also wondering where's the particle cannon if we have the Scud Storm and we have the Scud Storm and we have the nuclear missile as a weapon. Well, okay, the particle cannon is also very complicated. Let me look that up. I found it. So, it comes from this long, very long, module. As this particle cannon is the particle cannon. It has the animations for when the antennae are raised up. Then, how long does it fire for? The damage type it deals. How much damage it deals. How many pulses. This is the important part when it comes to gameplay, because it labeled it here. And a lot of this is pizzazz. And there's an interesting part here. This is if you want the laser to go faster, when you double click it, it goes faster. That's how fast it goes. Also, you can manipulate some of this, and the AI will whenever the AI uses and an AI opponent uses a particle cannon, it will also alter the S shape that they make. So yeah. When you modify these, like it makes the S shape wider or tighter, depending if you want to do that. Like that's for the AI opponent. But yeah, that's the particle cannon. It's not actual like weapon entry. It's part of their like particle cannon thing. It's its own module. Anyway, hang on. So we have other MISC weapons like the GLA's Mob Nexus Harmless weapon. I have the reason why I brought this up because there's an interesting bit here that some people would complain of. The only thing I don't like about the angry mob is the fact that they try to go get in as close as possible. Or they just run into their deaths half the time, and this is the reason for it. They made the range so small so that the whole mob can get in close, and I get it from a design standpoint. Um, so each mob member does have its own weapon, has its own weapon that is longer range than this attack range. The thing is, whenever the angry mob attacks something, the mob needs to have a bit of a cohesion, and like the fact that since angry mob, what you're controlling with the angry mob is the angry mob nexus. It's not the actual individual mob members itself. The angry mob nexus is a invisible object that basically determines the health of the mob and where the center of the mob is. It's what tells the mob to do things. It's an invisible unit that does that. And what happens is that they gave this invisible unit a weapon just to tell the mob, hey, attack this thing. And since whenever the mob gathers up to attack, it's not a guarantee that the mob members will have a spot to shoot from within the range of their weapons. Hence, they put the attack range very low so that it encourages more mob members to get in closer so that they can clump up in a better way that all mob members can accommodate a space for each one to shoot from. Hence why it's like this. It's a harmless weapon, doesn't do damage. Troop crawler assault. This is it's a similar concept for troop crawlers. It's a deploy weapon. It just does. Except it's a bit better because apparently they wanted it to be not slaughtered against tanks. It's an interesting comment. Here's historic weapon bonus. So like I brought in the Inferno cannon, but like I had to omit a lot of the Inferno cannon things. Those are just your typical like dumb weapon update things. This is the historic weapon thing, and when all of these are met, this is called. It just does a fire OCL. That's it. A funny thing you can do is that when you have this fire OCL creates an object. It's an object that shoots the actual like firestorm itself. And if you're mad enough, you can have a firestorm also shoot another weapon that shoots another weapon that shoots another weapon. You get the recursion bit, but yeah, there's some funny recursion you can do. Anyway, this is an example for later. We'll come back to this. That's the ECM tank. We'll cover weapon sets now. Applying it to objects and your objects, your units. So each object has 3 weapons. We have to remember that if you want your unit to use your weapons, it needs to have the can attack kind of. Yeah, it has to have the can attack kind of. Go look up what kinds ofs are, because those are finicky at best, and it's really just one of those things you feel out. The kind ofs are basically what determines what kind of unit / object that a thing is. Anyway, you can only have 3 weapons: the primary, secondary, and tertiary. An interesting quirk about the weapon system is that when you tell a unit to attack, it will try to attack with all of its weapons at once. This means if you have like a weapon with a shorter range than the other weapons, it will prioritize attacking with the weapon with the shorter range so that all of the weapons can attack. Now, you can sort of prevent this with stuff like preferred against. There is a thing called preferred against, in where like You said prefer against primary, um, kind of. What kind of? Is it against infantry? Preferred against infantry? Preferred against aircraft? Preferred against structures? The preferred, those are things you can set. You can also set auto choose sources. From where can it choose targets from? Like from the player, or you can set it to none. You can set it to none. You can set it to none. Therefore, it will not use this weapon at all. And why would you do that? Why would you have auto choose sources none? Because there is a you can because the Comanches, because Comanches do this when when they do rocket pods. Their tertiary weapon is their rocket pods. Um, they don't want you just wasting your rocket pods randomly attacking something. So they made it so that there's a button to force that unit to use that weapon. Uh, go look up the command set of the Comanche. Um, check out the fire rocket pods command. Anyway, the unit's weapon set can be updated with these. Player upgrade, stuff like directly changes their weapon, stuff that directly changes their weapon. Like I forget there's a good if there's a good example of this actually. Yes. I believe tactical nuke pigs. Um, they go from nuke mig missile to nuke mig missile something. It's the naming convention's weird. But yeah, they get a new weapon. Mine clearing detail. This is for your dozers. You typically give them the mine speed, the disarm weapon. Car bomb. This is for your terrorists. Vehicle hijack. That's for that's for hijacker. These are very odd ones. You don't see this much used. This one you see with terrorists, and these are salvage upgrades. And weapon rider. This is for combat cycles. There's a weapon rider for each possible rider that can ride the combat cycle. And apparently, this is also you can also assign these if you want to give like a heroic weapon like a la Red Alert 2. Anyway, other ways weapons are called in your modules. So we have the fire weapon modules. Fire weapon modules basically fire a weapon based on circumstances. Fire weapon collide if an object collides with your object, it fires a weapon. Fire weapon when damaged. Fires a weapon when taking damage. An example for this is the chem bunkers. If you remember the chem bunkers from one of the campaigns, whenever you attack them, they leak toxins. This is what's happening, and like it goes through the damage states as well, on like what happens. Fire weapon when dead. Well, object dies, fire weapon. Anthrax bomb does this. The anthrax bomb does this. And Moabs. Yeah, the big boys. Fire weapon update. Fires a weapon passively. These are weapons. They don't have to be aura weapons like the ECM, but like my example here is the ECM. Yeah, it's not a weapon they have on their traditional primary, secondary, tertiary. This is a weapon totally separate from the weapon set system, the weapon set bits. This is just a weapon they have that's firing constantly, and granted exclusive weapon delay. If we fire a real weapon, we turn this module off for this long. So notice how whenever either the microwave tank or the ECM actually uses their weapon, this weapon gets turned off for this long. When they're using it after using it, so like they're that means you can't have both the microwave effect and the ECM effect at the same time. You can remove this to just make them have the constant aura effect. It doesn't have to be an aura effect either. It can be launching a projectile somewhere. Could be. Fire OCL after a weapon. So this is not a fire weapon module, but this is a interesting one in that like it calls an OCL when your weapon finishes firing, and it calls for weapon slots. So like whenever you're firing a primary, and then you stop, and then your primary is in cooldown, it calls this OCL while it's on cooldown. And then it even has like min shots to create OCL. So, say you want, say you have your unit has an overload function, and that like when it shoots 5 times, and then it goes in cooldown. It goes in cooldown like fire OCL, whatever OCL that is. Does the unit explode? I don't know. Who knows? Dev behaviors can call for weapons as well. They can call all things, a lot of things really. The instant death behavior is the only one I'm showing here because it's the quickest example. There's you can call for effects. You can call for like the OCL, the death types mentioned. These are the death types. And then you can call for a weapon. Yeah. And then there's point defense lasers. This is also a weapon separate from your weapon set. So like this is also another way to like sneak in a weapon onto your unit without going through the whole weapon set bit. Yeah, this is it follows the same rules for lasers since lasers don't need to be like they don't need a launch mode per se. So example really, this is just the point defense laser for the powder. Pretty much. And yeah, those are not all of the modules, but it's most of them that you will encounter throughout like whenever you're modding. So I do have a bunch of examples. I do have a bunch of examples elsewhere. So we're in Operation Death Label, and like this is some of the examples I can throw at you.
We are pretty busy here.
This is an example of an instant hit weapon. Like those tracers are just for visual flare. They're actually already just instantly hitting. See, so
Heavy armor ready for action.
There's no actual travel time.
Comanche here.
I don't think there's a laser that can miss, but that's a laser. Those are your lasers.
How about a show of force?
These are your common shells. Nothing too special.
Missile guidance set. Calculating
These are
missile
missiles.
speed.
There's a bit of a scatter radius over there.
Preparing launch cycle.
No scatter radius when it's shooting at air units.
Come on in.
This one has a wide scatter radius. These are the different kinds of weapons you can make. Also, the ammo pips. And these are pretty much, just the most basic examples of weapons you can make, really, for your units. There's also other things like things that have aura. This one, no, this one, the warder. you notice the green aura. That's the ECM aura it has, and
Microwave emitters ready.
you see that circle around the Thunderbolt. That's the microwave aura.
Wavelength integrity.
Anyway, let's make a cool weapon. Well, I've already made the cool weapon. It's on this guy,
What do you got?
the Fallen. So let's go through its code. Let's go through the code that makes up of it. Okay. So this bit here, I've omitted a lot of the Fallen's code just to refer to the weapon set. So it has two weapon sets, one where it's not upgraded, now it's upgraded. We're focusing on the upgraded version, Fallen Missile Cluster. Now, what it does, it's just basically a copy of the Fallen Missile, except that it's just a copy of the Fallen Missile, except that it has an OCL for this. So when this projectile detonates, it calls this OCL, and it creates this object, the Fallen Merv. What does the Fallen Merv object do? Well, I omitted most of it, and this is what we're focusing on. The lifetime update, the fire weapon update, and slow death behavior. First off, the lifetime update that just basically tells it this lasts 5 seconds. This object stays here for 5 seconds and it expires. While that's happening, we have a fire weapon update, which is the Fallen Cluster Shots. The Fallen Cluster Shots really is just a reskin of the Inferno Cannon shots, except it's a particle beam. So it's just literally an Inferno Cannon shot. And slow death behavior, Firestorm Creation Weapon. We've already have that in example weapons, Firestorm Creation Weapons. It creates a firestorm as it expires. So let's see that in action.
Raptor here. Making it fast. Got it.
Then creates a firestorm. There we go. That's what it does. Well, that concludes this lesson. I hope I have been very informative in this, and there's a lot of things I have to edit out, especially my neighbor's dog, and I had a coughing fit, and I got interrupted somewhere in the middle. But hey, hopefully this is informative in like how you can apply weapons to your to your mod. I guess like this is really just like what weapons do. Well, I can actually demonstrate more things. Like this is effectively like this, the ion cannon. This is just a reskinned nuke. It's just that the projectile is invisible.
Nuclear missile launched.
This is just a reskinned nuke that spawns this object.
Congratulations, General. You have been promoted.
Pretty much. And what else? Well,
Armor detail reporting.
this is a mobile nuke launcher.
Nuclear missile launched.
Except there's no nuke because it's just the Moab explosion. Oh yes, particle cannon. But it's not a particle cannon. I like how you folks can figure this one out. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, there'll be more tutorials. I am free for suggestions for the next few lessons. You know, just feel free. Also, feel free to ask if you're missing anything or if I did not explain something properly. Please point them out. If I made mistakes, please point it out. You know, I'm not infallible. I make mistakes, and you know, yeah. See you next time.